Hey, how's everybody doing out there? The podcast verse, the Twitterverse out there. This is John Arnett. I'm the line coach, run game coordinator at Pampa High School in Pampa, Texas. 4AD1 school, northeast of Amarillo. Moved up here this past year and really just love the Panhandle. That High Plains is great, wonderful weather. Houston day at practice. It was great to go out and average in the 70s. One of the biggest things, just talking about overall drill work before I get started and everything, I think when you're a couple of things that, young coaches, old coaches, everybody out there, it's important to never be afraid to try new drills, never be afraid to just go out there because the most important thing in the world on any of your drill work is that it becomes applicable to the game. You can sit there and do 100 up downs and yeah, you wear them out and everything, but they're not going to do up downs on the field, and there's things like that like you and all the podcasters and the different coaches in this profession are making us so great because we're able to share so much. I think about the time when I was in high school back in the late 90s and stuff. I had great coaches because they developed relationships and everything. But to find knowledge and stuff back then, man, it was a lot harder. So we're really lucky to coach in this day and age. Um, this particular drill right here, I like to do a lot of stuff with the Crowther sled. Uh, there's there's if back from my playing days, if I could say there was one piece of training equipment that helped me as a player really understand what staying square to the line of scrimmage, what a high hip, what really how the fundamentals of a lot of combos, both like your inside zone combos or your gap combos, you can work either of them. One of the greatest things about it is if you attack the pad and are not square and don't have a high hip, it will spin out on you. So being able to have that immediate feedback, not just as a player, but as a coach, is huge to me. And I know they're a little bit more expensive, but I definitely recommend any line coaches out there, do all your chores and ask Santa at Christmas time for one, because I think they're really, really valuable right there because of how that pan sled is. You come in, and if you're high hip, what I'm meaning by that is the contact leg, of course, being more upfield, being in a more positive relationship than the off hip. I hope that makes sense. And I know most of y'all know what that means, but I want to make sure for any young coaches out there that I'm not saying terms that don't make sense. Which is a big point of things. Words are words. When you're coaching kids, don't ever get caught up in being words. Get caught up in feels. I've said it before. If you've ever heard any of my other stuff or follow me, I'm big on coaching by feels because I believe, and I've heard from a clinic a while back. I mean, it was a track clinic, and it really changed my career and made me a better coach. Was understanding that athletes cannot perform kinesthetic movements until they know what it feels like, you know, and saying words like, say half bucket or a pail step or a brace step. Well, all that means the same thing, really, depending on, you're really just trying to move your foot a different way, and it don't make sense. It really doesn't. It's just words. So by just talking about, hey, what did you feel here? Hey, if I got to step right, I'm really driving the world away to the left and all that stuff. I think you can get a lot out of it. So, and I kind of ramble. One of the guys I work with says I have a nice way of going all around a story, like you're wrapping a present and then tying a pretty bow on the end. At some point, I'll have a point. So I hope I'm not rambling too much. But right here, what we're doing is working our inside zone combos. I personally just for time wise at the 4A level, the amount of individual time I get, my gap combos and my zone combos are pretty much the same. I will use some gallop, but for the most part, I'm really big on just using one combo deal because I want to get the reps for time. So, and I just grabbed a couple of videos. Both these guys, I think, might even be JV guys, or one of them I think guy on the list ended up being a varsity guy. But what we're working right here would be like if we were running inside zone right, and the person on the right here would be like the tackle right here. What is that? Come on, John. And then the other guy being the guard. So he's the covered guy. The guy on the right would be the covered guy right here. The guy on the left would be the uncovered guy. What I'm trying to do right here is make sure that they understand that I'm driving this knee right to that middle of that pad, that I'm getting a high hip. We're going to take a little bit of a paddle step right here. They just kind of pick it up. I'm not too particular on things. I'm really more particular on getting on landmarks and stuff like that. I want to drive this knee here. He knows he's got to suck up the air. So I know there's two pads, but we're trying to treat this in the way that it's being drilled as if this was one down lineman where he was a backside shade. So like a 4I, a 2I, a G, backside shade on a center, something like that. So what you're going to see is he's going to kind of pick this foot up, but change the color of that. Up, right first. That's going to be his first step right there. Second to it. When we're talking that crotch, that high hip, he's going to take that lateral step over here, and then he's going to take that lateral step over here, stepping upfield. The internet went down a little bit. I don't know if it lagged, so I'm going to say that last part again. He's going to take a lateral step over, coming up, and then again, this foot's going to be the high hip. The high hip is going to be the leg that I'm actually making contact with right here. So let's see. As you watch right here, stepping over high hip, and you can notice he's up here. I prefer him to be a little bit lower. There's a lot of things that I'd prefer, but you know, like the rest of us out there, we at the high school level, we get what we get, and I love it because you know who cares how good you are when you coach good ones. Let's make everybody good, you know. And as a coach, don't be scared. The guy on the right here should be more forward with that left. This hand should be more tucked underneath right there, but they're getting that combo work right there. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one right here. I have a couple of these videos. And again, they're all going to be similar right here. The guy on the left is wrong right here. This guy, judge here, that is not, his hip is not staying high. You know, they look good right there, but as I progress, he's letting that foot fall behind right there. So that's not ideal. I'd rather have my elbow tucked in, like the gentleman on the right here, who was one of my varsity players. I'd rather have him there, but one of the key parts right here, off hands free pumping. Okay, I tell them, rub your ribs with your elbow. We'll add an extension where we'll place linebackers deeper, okay? And you can tell, so here's and it's on him a little bit. So, again, drive. As a coach, a lot of times I would also like to stand over here somewhere as a coach, deeper, so I can see eyes. Training eyes is a very big, and sometimes I believe really underappreciated, undercoached thing, especially at a lot of lower levels. a lot of things that we ask our kids, not just offensive linemen, but in a lot of position, their eyes got to be in very specific areas. And it's really easy to forget that and not drill it with the intensity that it really deserves and needs. This is a nice other extension. This was at school. This is when I was at Humble Summer Creek right here. And if you can do it, I definitely recommend making some little PVC chutes right here. I didn't have a chance. You can make 6 of them for about the same price. You can buy them off Rogers or whatever. But what you can do with these little PVC chutes is ensure that they're coming out of their stance with a good hinge in their hips and down. Again, now it looks like this guy on the left should be the covered guy. The guy on the right, the uncovered guy. I really love the speed of his first step and how he gets it up. You can tell both of them drive, high hip, high hip, high hip, high hip. Okay? You can notice that first step, like I was saying earlier, the uncovered guy, he's getting over, boom, that foot's getting up, high hip. Picking this foot up, high hip right here. Okay? Really, 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 really great stuff on that. Really excited about how they do. And you can see, boom, 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 boom. Good. And then it's all about the feet can't die. Slow feet don't eat, baby. And you got to sustain those bars. Teach them. One of the things, even a 5-man sled, it does a great job is teaching them a lot of those things. On the Crowther sled, you can use also just one person at a time on all that. Don't have a video of that. Last little thing, I know most of y'all, I hate it for you that a lot of y'all can't get to cut, because here in Texas, we're able to cut, and I'm a big fan of it. I think it makes it a lot easier, especially if you're trying to run some wide zone, anything outside where you're not going to get in lanes. But what we're doing right here is just a 2v2 combo using a donut wheel as a cut dummy right here. And I think it's great. Saves your players and allows for a moving target. Again, getting to track those eyes and stuff. This is our wide zone right here, and we're getting through. And again, none of this is perfect, but I think this does a good job of showing you how we're going to try to get through that landmark and get on the cut. Boom, goes away, and cuts right there. Okay. Again, and they would work. There's another video I have of this. I didn't have it uploaded. If you ever, I video a lot of my drills and stuff like that, and I got tons of it. I just have to dig through my phone or get on Huddle. If anybody's ever interested, feel free to reach out. Whatever I can do to help. But again, now we're trying to get him. Boom. He couldn't get him reach. We're going through. I think the cover guy does a good job. And now I'm starting to get more into schemes. So those are 2 of my favorite drills right there. I think that's all I got kind of uploaded right there. To me, I think it's so important that you use what you got, make your drills apply. I like to scaffold a lot. Otherwise, my first drills I'm going to do every day, usually in pre-practice. It's like 5-man sled, which is working the solo, or what we call a wind block. From there, I'm going to do a lot of 2v2 stuff. We're predominantly a zone team. We do run some gap scheme, like everybody else. A little bit of power, a little bit of counter trade, stuff like that. But I think, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone on drills. Find stuff that works for you. And sometimes it's going to be a bad drill. And you'll be like, I don't know what I was thinking on that one. But it's okay, because you gave it a shot. Too many people make the mistake of not taking those risks, because some of the best drills I've ever done, some of the best things that I've ever found coaching wise, were the ones that I took what I had learned from other people and tried to adapt it to what my kids were doing. When you go to these clinics and stuff, a lot of times And there's great things that college and pros guys do because they have great athletes. Um, adjust it. Find what works for your kids. Most important thing overall is that you build that relationship. You practice your craft, and you get those kids to buy in, and you do that by showing things that translate to the field that make them better. And showing them that you love them. Building a relationship with kids, I can't ever say it enough. It's way more important than any drill. So, hope it helps somebody. I'm John Arnett again. Like I said, feel free to reach out to anything. Email address is Coach John A. Arnett at gmail.com. Twitter is at Coach John Arnett. It's not hard to find me. Whatever I can do for this community, I think one of the best things about being a coach, and I get it because I am an O lineman, and I think the O line mentality is we is better than me. So whatever I can always do to help anybody out there, and I appreciate and I learn from all you guys also. And we have the best profession in the world, so let's not let it die.